Hello everyone. On this very gloomy day today, I have some new updates on Chad Doerman, the man who executed his 3 children in his front yard in Ohio. And there has been a lot of questions that we've had surrounding this case, including why. Why did he do this? What led to this? Was there any signs?
As their father was being arrested, the boys' motionless bodies were found in the front yard of the family home on Laurel Lindale Road. Chad Doerman is being held on a $20 million bond. The detectives and crime scene vehicles are long gone in front of the house. The memorial stands in honor of the boys as the community still is trying to come to terms with what happened on July 15th.
Everybody really hates the guy right now. Everybody pretty much hopes he rots in prison because he ain't going to be able to see the light of day for the rest of his life.
Now, first off, we do have some new information about the day that Chad ended up murdering his 3 sons. The prosecutor saying, and I quote, "What we have here is a planned slaughter of 3 little boys, ages 7, 4, and 3. The second child shot was the 7-year-old who fled the residence and then ran some 300 feet from the residence and then was gunned down from behind by the defendants. Then he went after the 3-year-old and there was a struggle with the mother. He ripped the child from the mother's arms," unquote.
Here is the planned slaughter of 3 little boys, ages 7, 4, and 3. The first one shot was the 4-year-old, shot in the house 2 times, then sustained 2 bullet wounds to the head, causing his death. The second child shot was a 7-year-old who fled the residence, ran some 300 feet from the residence, and was gunned down from behind by the defendant. He then approached this little boy who's injured, incapacitated, alive, and shot him in the head twice from close distance. There were powder burns in the boy's head. And then he went after the 3-year-old. And there was a struggle with the mother. He ripped the child from the mother's arms and put a bullet in his head. Close range.
I cannot imagine. But we now know that it was the 7-year-old that ended up getting away that Chad ended up hunting down and murdering. And now we have this new information that he ripped the 3-year-olds from the mother's arms before he killed him. That is just, it's a lot. And I have a lot of questions about just why Chad would do this. Were there any signs that he would do something like this? Was he just a normal guy one day and then snapped another? It doesn't seem like it. And Local 12 actually got some new information uncovered when they filed an open record request with the Claremont County Information Center. And it turns out that authorities have been called to Chad Doerman's residence 3 times since 2020, the last being when he murdered his children. Now, their search for court records only really showed that there was traffic violations in Claremont County, with the exception of a criminal damage and complaint when Chad was 18. Now, there was also that DV case that I mentioned in the previous video, where 2 years earlier, Chad was accused of choking his father, but it seems that both of these cases were dismissed. Now, a friend of Chad's named Mark Holland actually ended up telling news outlets that Chad had a bad temper, saying, and I quote, "I think he was a bomb ready to explode," end quote. We've also now learned that the gun Chad used on his children was a Marlin Model HC-22 rifle. Now, the home that this all took place at was a converted manufactured home on 3 acres of land that Chad purchased in 2016 for $75,000. And an interview with neighbors revealed that one allegedly witnessed Chad losing his temper with his boys, saying that he, and I quote, "tossed a couple of them around the yard one day," end quote. A request for CPS records showed that there were none to get, so clearly nothing had been filed regarding the kids. Another neighbor named Richard Kincannon told ABC affiliate WCPO that Mr. Doerman, and I quote, "yelled all the time," end quote, and mistreated his wife.
He was an asshole.
You felt like he was just angry, generally speaking.
He was every day. Heard him. There wasn't a day he didn't yell at his wife and kids out there.
What would he yell?
Okay. He was just angry, yelling at her all the time, treating her like.
So when you look at that house now, what do you see?
I still see the babies sitting in the yard, laying in the yard. One was right there by the tree, right by the road, not even 20 feet from the road right there. This is where that dude lay him. Laid the one up there right beside that silver truck to the left of the tire, about 5 foot. That's all I see every time I come out here. For any man to even think about doing that is just, no words can explain.
So clearly there was something going on with Chad when you get talking to his friends and neighbors. He seemed to have anger issues. He seemed to be yelling at his children. Some neighbors reported him throwing his children around the yard. So it seems that there was some kind of DV going on here, most likely. But I really think what gets people is these photos that Chad has with his children. Because on social media, Chad looks like a normal father, such as this photo he posted of them, such as this photo that he posted with him and his kids just 4 days before he killed them. Now, this next part is going to be really hard to hear as well, because police have released a few of the 911 phone calls from the neighbors, meaning at least 2 neighbors were some sorts of witnesses to this. One was the lady that I showed in the previous video who had been stopped by the stepdaughter when she was driving, and she ended up calling 911, and another seems to be someone who was near a fire department that actually seems to have witnessed some of what happened. So I'm gonna play those for you now.
911, where's your emergency? There's a girl running down the street saying that her stepfather is killing everyone in her family. It's on the corner of where there's a body shop and the fire department. Do you know what road this is?
Okay, what's your name?
She ran to the fire department.
What's your name?
Do you know what road this is? Laura Lindell Road.
Said what?
It's Laura Lindell Road.
Okay, and what did the female say to you?
And she says that her stepfather is killing everybody in her house. I did. I'm on the phone with them right now.
Did you say how or what was happening?
I asked her to get in the car with me, and she said she couldn't leave her family, but I think she ran to the fire department.
So she went to the fire station. What did she look like?
She's probably a young teenager, probably like 16 maybe, with long blonde hair. And she has a black dog.
Did she say anything about a baby?
I don't know about no baby. She said she just couldn't leave her family. But I see a car running around. I'm sorry?
Do you see anything from the house?
So I drove down the road a little bit, so I was afraid that I was going to get shot myself since I interacted with her face to face. So I'm just about maybe 3 houses down. But she's waiting at the corner. I don't know what she's doing, but I kind of still see her in the corner. But I saw a car kind of came around and whipped around, so I'm not exactly sure if that's him or if he's chasing her or not. I'm sorry?
What kind of vehicle was it?
I saw it. It was like a gray. Did you see that car whip around? It's one of the fire department guys.
Okay.
I think maybe a fire department guy. It was a regular kind of Focus-looking gray car.
Okay, we have help on the way. Thank you so
Dark
much.
gray.
If you
Okay, all right.
Call us back, okay, and steer clear of the area at this time.
Okay. This said stay clear from the area.
Yeah, which
But speaking of that, that's the house right there.
Oh, are you inside where you're safe?
I'm standing outside where I can see the lady.
Okay.
I'm across the street at Lindell Automotive.
Can you tell how many people have been shot?
I think 2 children
Okay. All right. What was
that
your
I've
name,
seen.
sir?
My name is.
What's your last name? All right. We've got help on the way. If you could just try to stay inside so that you're safe.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Now, a detective at the Claremont County Sheriff's Office wrote in a criminal complaint that Chad had confessed to planning and carrying out the deaths of his children for several months. Just days prior to these horrifying deaths, Chad seems to have changed his profile picture on Facebook to a picture of his 3 young sons. He also posted several pictures of himself and the boys in the recent days. On June 11th, a picture showed Chad with his 3 sons all giving thumbs up, which I don't know what that exactly means, but I don't really know what to take from that. Let me know if you can kind of get what they're gathering from it. Now, I've heard a lot of talk about Chad, but we haven't really heard much about these 3 young boys that were murdered. The day before the murders unfolded, the president of the baseball league where the boys played said that she saw the family. Kristen Bennett saying, and I quote, "He was telling the boys to get in the car seats, be safe, would not have thought anything, just normal typical conversation with another family on the ball field," end quote. And the kids were described by people that knew them as incredible, talented athletes that loved baseball. Their coach saying, and I quote, "They were quintessential boys, they were good boys, they loved playing ball, just everything you would want in a little guy that your coach coaching, end quote. They sometimes walked hand in hand, whether down to the water to fish or to catch a worm. They were full of giggles and their laughter was contagious. On the baseball diamond, the oldest was a feisty left-hander, but also a team player. The boys' aunt said that they're beautiful and deserve to be proudly displayed. They loved fiercely with their entire hearts, and they need to be seen for the blessings they were and the happy lives they lived. And that's the tragedy in all of this. These 3 little boys were brutally murdered, horrifically murdered, and again, I can't imagine their last moments. I just can't imagine the mother and the sister just watching all of this happen and not being able to do anything. It is horrific. And the more and more details come out, it just seems to be getting worse. As of right now, 32-year-old Chad Doerman has been indicted on 9 accounts of aggravated murder, 8 counts of kidnapping, and 4 counts of felonious assault. And during his arraignment, which happened today as I'm filming this video on June 23rd, Chad ended up pleading not guilty, which apparently is standard during this point in the proceedings. Either way, prosecution is seeking the death penalty in this case, and it seems that a lot of people are hoping that this happens. And there should be some more information coming out next week because there are some more hearings that are going to be happening, and I will keep you updated if anything big comes of those. But as of right now, how do you feel about all of this new information and the new developments? Do you think Chad should get the death penalty? How do you feel about the death penalty? I feel like people go back and forth on it. I'm always in the middle. I don't know. With that, if you want to stay updated on this case and all the other cases that I do cover, I definitely recommend hitting that subscribe button. Also, let me know down below if there are any other cases that you want me to cover. With that, I hope you all stay safe out there. Lock your windows and doors. Keep these children and this family in your thoughts, and I hope to see you in the next video.